What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? What's up, anybody that's watching this and rebroadcast? Thank you for watching this. Just waiting for everybody to come into the room. Hey, Legendary. Good afternoon. Oh, thank you, Legendary. Okay, thank you, for the support. Okay, I really appreciate it, okay? I really do appreciate you guys for the donations and the support. Hey, Gideon. Yeah, I do need to do that. I need to do that. Um, I probably should do that while the season hasn't started, right? I need to get up. I need to get on that. As a matter of fact, I haven't even finished my point guards videos. I haven't even. I mean, I know that the last two, and most people probably can guess who the last two are. The final two. I just haven't done actual videos yet. I got kind of sidetracked with the election, but yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, Tom Heinsohn passed away today, man. I just found out about 20 minutes ago. What's up, B Skrills? What's up, Goat Productions? Um, I mean, I hadn't even known that he was that sick. I mean, I had known that he wasn't um, doing as many broadcasts with the Boston Celtics, but I didn't know that he was like in a anywhere near death's door or anything like that. But it's yeah. I mean, it's getting to that point, man. You know what I'm saying, where a lot of these guys are going to start leaving. Last year, we lost John Havlicek. He was one of the younger ones. So, it's getting to that point. One thing we were very fortunate with, as far as the NBA was concerned, is that we were very fortunate to have a lot of these guys stay with us for a very long time. Like, yeah, we did have Pete Maravich pass away early. Wilt died kind of young at 63. But for the most part, until like the mid 2000s, most of those guys, even going back to the 40s, were still alive. But starting in the mid 2000s and then accelerated about 10 years ago, they started passing away. They started leaving, Paul Arizin and Bill Sharman and Dolph Shays and all these guys from the 50s. They started passing away, and then now the 60s, in the 60s, and you know he gave me the feeling that he was racist. Yeah, you know he definitely gave me the vibe that he was a Republican and right wing. Yeah, I did comment on one of your videos, Go Production. Most of the Celtics fans are racist. You know what I'm saying? But he's a legend, you know what I'm saying? And until I actually see him say something outwardly racist, then I'll pay tribute to him. But I can see that about him, so he definitely comes across as one of those type of dudes that voted for Trump. That might be one of the last things he did before he left. I don't know. I don't know how he died. It just broke that he passed away today. Um, but Tom Heinsohn was a six-time All-Star with the Boston Celtics. he only played 9 seasons, I think, because if I'm not mistaken, he came in the league the same year Bill Russell did, 1956-57 season. But he actually won Rookie of the Year over Bill Russell. And I suspect racism has something to do with that. I mean, Tom did have a good rookie year, but Bill Russell was a more impactful player, you know what I'm saying? But they gave it to Tom Heinsohn, and I think he retired in 65. So he was a 6-time All-Star. I'm trying to think how many championships he won as a player. So that would be what? The rookie year, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. So I think he won 8 championships as a player. And then later on in the 70s, Tom Heinsohn won two championships as a coach because he was a coach of those Celtics teams in the 70s. In fact, I think he got coach of the year in 1972-73. That's the year Boston won 68 games, but they lost to the New York Knicks, I think in the Eastern Conference Finals, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to the New York Knicks. But yeah, he probably would have won Finals MVP. That's another thing, Steph Curry to go. You ever wonder, like, you ever wonder how many records would be different or broken if certain things were around back then? Like, if they had Finals MVPs, how many would Bill Russell have gotten during those finals? I mean, he won 11 titles. How many of those would he have won as far as Finals MVP? Probably at least 9, maybe. Yeah, they eight-peated. They eight-peated. They won from 59 to 66. And then the one year that they didn't go to the NBA Finals was 1967 when Philly beat them. Every other year they was in the finals. Unbelievable. Every other year. But I don't like to keep shortchanging Bill Russell. I don't make it seem like I'm a Bill Russell hater. But like I said, they had a dream team, damn near. You know what I'm saying? Just for instance, go like to 1963. Let's go to 1960. You got Bill Russell. You got Tom Sanders. He's an all-star. You got Heinsohn. He's an all-star. Cousy, an all-star. Bill Sharman's an all-star. Okay. K.C. Jones is an all-star. You got all of these great players on one team. I mean, how you don't win? They should have won. Yeah, it's kind of hard to gauge how many Finals MVPs he would have won, and that's a good question about Defensive Player of the Year. Shit, he probably would have won that. He probably would have won that at least. Shit, 8, 9 times. He probably won that award 8 or 9 times. Well, Kenny, I mean, a lot of these guys that we grew up watching, man, they're getting up there in age, whether it's sports, entertainment, you know. Shit, when I was growing up, Tom Heinsohn was already in his 50s because he was primarily known at that time as being a commentator, a broadcaster for, what was he, a color commentator with CBS Sports? So he was already in his 50s then. So, I'm 40. Shit. You guys are getting old, man. Yeah, Red Auerbach, Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame bench. Honestly, you could say they had the greatest bench comparable to the league ever. You know, legendary, legendary. How long you been around? You said I felt that if Wilt had the team Bill had, he would have. No, that's I highlighted the wrong one. Being that I think Wilt is the GOAT, I honestly never liked Bill Russell until he retired. Hmm. I ain't gonna say nothing, you know. Yeah. The thing that gets me is, look, I get that players in that era, in the 50s into the 60s, they had lower field goal percentages for different reasons that you could, you could blame it on the fact that maybe the way that teams offenses were. Like, I know back then it was more of a run and gun style, but back then, if you watch a lot of those games in the 60s, they often took the first available shot. Might not have been a good shot. They just took the first available shot. Might be, 22 footer or some shit, a mid range. They took a lot of mid range shots, and statistically, mid range shot is the least effective shot or least efficient shot. So that might have something to do with the field goal percentage. I can see that with the perimeter guys. But Bill Russell, you're 6'9", 240, and you're right under the basket. You're not a mid range shooter. Okay, you're right under the basket. Why are you only shooting 44% from the floor? I mean, look, I know some people get on me about that. Like, he could score at times, but nah, bro. There's no reason for you to shot that terrible. Contrast that with Wilt Chamberlain, who shot the ball 30 times in some seasons, more than that, and he still shot 50% from the floor. I mean, Boston was still a pretty good team before Bill got there. I mean, it wasn't like a situation where they sucked. They just, one of the problems Boston had, Bill fixed immediately. They were, from what I remember reading about Boston before he got there, they were a high scoring team, but they lacked size. They lacked size. That's why most of Bob Cousy's triple doubles came before Bill Russell got there, because Cousy used to have to try to crash the boards to help out on rebounding. That's why, like, I think he had 33 career triple doubles. It's something like that, 32, 33. Most of them came before Bill Russell got there. When Bill Russell got there, Cousy stayed his little ass out there, and he really didn't get too many triple doubles after that. But their problem was defense and rebounding, and he fixed that. That was his game. He fit in. He fit in perfectly. But they already still had a pretty good team. You said, do you think Larry Bird is the greatest Celtic ever over Bill Russell, even though Bill did more? Yeah, I do. Yeah. I just think that Larry Bird was a more skilled, a more skilled basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like, skill wise, it's not even close. Uh, um, I mean, Bird. Okay, Larry. I mean, look, Bill Russell got him as far as rebounding and, I guess, defense. They both had very high basketball IQs, but I mean, everything else, Larry Bird blows them out of the water. You know what I'm saying? They both were great leaders. You know what I'm saying? Bird was a little bit different in how he led, how he conducted his leadership with the team. But Bird was a better shooter, ball handler, passer. Considering, I mean, yeah, it's not even close. Plus, Bird played in a much more competitive league. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just, yeah, he had Hall of Famers with him, but there were other great teams and a better, it was just better competition in the 80s compared to the 60s. So mm-mm. Bird, to me, yeah, Bird is the greatest Celtic. I mean, Russell was a great passer for a big man, but Bird is to me just a better. I mean, I'll put it like this: Russell was a great passer, but he couldn't do what Larry Bird could do. You know what I'm saying? Let's put it like that. He didn't have the passing eye that Larry Bird had. Bill Russell couldn't bring a ball up and you know what I'm saying? He can't bring the ball up and run the offense. You know what I'm saying? He can't pass through, you know what I'm saying? He can't do the same shit that Larry Bird was able to do out there on the court. And also, you could make the argument that if Larry Bird wanted to, he could have padded his numbers a little bit better because Bird was playing within their system. You know what I'm saying? Like he averaged 6 assists per game, but in certain other systems, Bird, if he was like, if he didn't have a Dennis Johnson or if he was playing more point forward, Bird could have averaged more like 8 assists per game, closer to 8 or 8.5. He could have averaged more assists than that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying like Bill Russell was a great passer or a really good passer for a center, but it's not close to me. No, he can't defend like Bill Russell, but Bill Russell's just limited. I mean, he's a great defensive player, a great shot blocker. He had a high basketball IQ, but I mean, he's limited. Like to me, if you were to switch somebody like Bill Russell with Nate Thurman, I don't really see a huge drop off with the Boston Celtics. I still think they're gonna win 9 or 10 championships. Maybe not 11, but they're still gonna win 9 and 10. I don't know. I've just never been. Maybe I'm selling Bill Russell short, but I've never watched the games that I watched him play. Okay, I never watched him and was like, wow, man, this is the best player I've ever seen. No, he's not even a great positional rebounder. Like, I don't think in today's NBA, Bill Russell would probably, I don't even know if, I'm not even convinced that he would lead the league in rebounding today. Every time he went up against Will Chamberlain out rebounded him almost 2-1. I don't know. I do wonder if it was more of a byproduct of his athleticism and size. What's up, Lou the Rider? No, I'm not. I'm not. Look, I'm not. I'm not disparaging Bill Russell. I think he's a great player. But when you're comparing him, like when someone's asking me, do I think he's the GOAT, or you're comparing him to a player I think that's better, then I have to mention some of the limitations in his game. Now I do agree with that. His athleticism was off the charts. Legendary said, "Too raw. Do you rank Shaq over Akeem when it comes to all-time top 5 centers?" Yes, I do. I know that in hindsight, a lot of younger people, you know what I'm saying, they might look at the fact that Akeem has 2 championships, Shaq 4, and a lot of people do bring up the fact that Hakeem may not have won those 2 titles if Jordan had played. That's debatable. Um, but this is the thing: if you watch Hakeem Olajuwon play when Rudy Tom Jombers got there, because the coach before him, I think it was Don Chaney, he had Houston playing outside in for whatever reason. But once Rudy Tom Jombers got there and he utilized Hakeem Olajuwon, um, the I mean, the thing that you notice about King, whenever he played against another great center, there was a definite separation between him and other centers. You know what I'm saying? It was a definite separation, whether it was David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal. You could argue Shaq wasn't as developed, but then again, in the mid '90s, Shaq was thinner, more athletic. You know what I'm saying? Now, he wasn't as heavy, and he did add some moves to his arsenal. Not that he was king, but later on. But Akeem Olajuwon just was the only guy I ever saw that made other great centers look like scrubs when he was on. You know what I'm saying? From '93 to about '97, Akeem Olajuwon was unbelievable, man. But this is the thing about Akeem Olajuwon. He's a phenomenal player individually. And you know what I'm saying, I think he's top 10 or top 12-ish or something in that range, right? But his fans tend to overrate him a little bit though. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some things about him that you have to keep into consideration. Like the fact that if you're going to penalize Michael Jordan for losing before he got, the early parts of his career, I think if I'm not mistaken, Akeem Olajuwon lost in the first round 9 times in his career. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be the GOAT and half your career you got eliminated in the first round. Yeah, yeah. I remember that finals in '95. I was what year was I? I think I was a freshman in high school at the time, toward the end of my freshman year when that happened. And I'll never forget that first game. I was watching it, and the first game of that series, if you remember watching it, Orlando came out big. If I'm not mistaken, in the second quarter, Orlando had a 20-point lead, and everybody kind of favored Orlando. You know what I'm saying? Even though Houston had systematically beaten all these 50-win teams, everybody was just so enamored by Orlando because of their offense. It was averaging 110 points a game that year, leading the league. You know what I'm saying? Just incredible. And the first game, they were up by 20-some points. I'm thinking, man, shit, this game is over with. But then Houston slowly got back in the game. Kenny Smith, for some reason, they refused to pay attention to Kenny Smith. And he's just hitting threes, three, 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 three. And then I remember when he finally made that three to tie the game, after I think Nick Anderson bricked those 4 free throws, I started thinking to myself, man, Houston going to win this game. And Olajuwon got that tip in off the Drexler miss. And that's when I started thinking, man, Orlando going to lose this series because that's a huge psychological blow. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge psychological blow to be up 20 points in a game you should have won and you lost it somehow. Brandon H. Red Pill said, "Damn, Sixers fan here, but loved hearing Tommy call the games. He sounded like he was having a heart attack every call. R.I.P." Yeah. Lou the Writer says, "I think Jordan would have averaged 40 in NBA Finals against Houston." You think so? Mm, I don't know. I don't know about 40. Um, I mean, I could definitely see him averaging like 32, 33, easy. I don't know about 40. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I know that 93, Jordan kind of had to him and Pippen, they kind of had to carry the burden of that offense because shit, that probably was the weakest bench they ever had in 93. You know what I'm saying? But in 94 or in 95, that team, the bench had gotten better. You know what I'm saying? Most of those guys in 93, those were carryovers. Those guys were getting old, and you know what I'm saying? It was like a whole bunch of older guys. But by 94, 95, that's when you start having all those guys from the championship years come aboard. So I don't know if Jordan would have averaged that many points. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because you got Tony Kukoc there. Kukoc's going to give you probably like at least 12 or 13, 14 coming off the bench if he was on the bench, or 15 as whatever. Tony Kukoc will give you double figures regardless. I don't know. I don't know if Mike would average that many points. Yeah, that's why I was thinking Karras. Yeah, Karras wasn't averaging 40 against Houston in the finals. No way, not with Maxwell and Akeem. Because the first thing I was thinking about, I was like, I don't know, man. Not with Akeem in the paint. Because that's the one thing I remember about the Bulls, and in particular Michael Jordan, when they played against Houston. Um, some nights Michael had a good shooting night, but he kind of was relegated to stay on the perimeter because you just don't look. I know Kevin Johnson had that highlight, but as a general rule, you don't challenge Akeem Olajuwon. You know what I'm saying? It's certain people. The way the rules were then, there were certain people you didn't challenge. You didn't challenge Olajuwon. You didn't challenge Mark Eaton when he was in his best years. You didn't challenge Mutombo. You just didn't do it. What's up, Winona Thomas? Winona says Bulls versus Knicks playoffs, best to work, best to less, best. Okay. Are you saying like as far as the best series to watch? Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. You're saying like from the most entertaining to least entertaining? 92, 94, 93. Um, hmm. Yeah, I can go with that. I can go with that. 92, 94, 93. 92 went to 7 games. The Knicks, um, nearly, even though game 7 wasn't competitive, but the Knicks nearly pushed the Bulls to the brink. And they did it against a Bulls team that some people would say was the best Bulls team ever. Like some people tell you the 92 Bulls were the best team ever as far as what the Bulls is concerned. So yeah, I will go with that. Then 93, you know, Actually, you know what? I would put 93 in front of 94. Me personally, I would put 92, 93, 94, and then 96, which wasn't all that competitive. Even though I know 94 went 7 games, but you could also, if you really look at that series, you could also make the argument that the Knicks could have swept the Bulls 4-0. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know. Like, even though it did go 7 games, it didn't. I don't know. When watching that series, I'm glad it went 7 games, but I never had the feeling that the Knicks were in real grave danger of losing that series. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why because we didn't have Jordan, but I just never felt like we were going to beat them because I don't trust Scottie Pippen like that. You know, Scottie Pippen isn't Michael Jordan, so I don't know. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I would put it me personally 92, 93, 94, and then 96. Terrell, do you think Manu Ginobili is a better sixth man than John Havlicek? And also, do you think T Mac deserved to go into the Hall of Fame? I personally feel like he didn't do enough. Well, the thing about John Havlicek is, John Havlicek to me is a top 20, 25 all-time player. He did start off as a sixth man, but eventually he became a starter. So the thing that hurts John is that you could say Havlicek might be a better player, um, but he wasn't a sixth man as long as Manu Ginobili. So it depends on what you're looking at. Are you looking at peak production, like or ability, or are you looking at overall production as a sixth man? I mean, I'm more inclined to say that. To me personally, I'm more inclined to say that the greatest sixth man is John Havlicek because what I'm saying, he took the guy who embodied that role, basically created it, Frank Ramsey, and put it to another level. You know what I'm saying? Like he helped to really modernize what a six man is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? John Havlicek. So I would give it to John Havlicek, but it is what it is. And as far as T Mac, I think T Mac, I don't have an issue with Tracy McGrady being a Hall of Famer. My issue is I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because I'm trying to figure out how is it that Tracy is the first ballot Hall of Famer, but Reggie Miller had to get in on his second year. Now I know sometimes it has to do with your competition. Tracy McGrady came in a year where the competition was terrible. There really wasn't any other people, as far as contenders to get into the Hall. So that helped him tremendously. But had he come in, let's say he was eligible last year when you already had Kobe, Duncan, and Garnett, he wouldn't have got in. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think this next year, which is going to be a weak year, and I think the only upcoming player who is an obvious pick to get in is going to be Paul Pierce. Hopefully, finally, Ben Wallace will get in because he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think that, honestly, Chris Webber should have been in the Hall. He should have been in. Chris retired 12 years ago. I'm aware that politics is holding back, but Chris Webber should be in the Hall of Fame. If the bench, if the, I'm saying, if the litmus test is somebody like Tracy McGrady, then those guys should be in the Hall of Fame as well. Exactly. Chris Webber should be in the Hall of Fame. If you're going to put some of you guys coming up now, and lo and behold, y'all know how I feel about Draymond Green. If they put him in the Hall of Fame, shit, you gotta have to start. They're gonna have to start really, really going back and putting in motherfuckers. I mean, they're gonna have to start putting in all these fucking like borderline motherfucking cases. They're gonna have to put Terry Cummings in. They're gonna have to put Mike Rice in. Fuck that. They're gonna have to start putting in Eddie Johnson, not the child molester, the other Eddie Johnson, not Fast Eddie, the one that came in to play with Phoenix and Houston and Seattle. That one. They gotta put his ass in. Yeah, man. Fuck that. Shit, maybe in Robert Ory. Man, they should, man. They should, man. That's why I said that, man. That's a disgrace, man. You trying to tell me that somebody like, okay, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar should be in the same fucking Hall of Fame as Draymond fucking Green? No, man. No, they ain't got nothing to do with hate, none of that shit, man. He's just not a Hall of Famer. Okay? He's not. He's a guy that 20, 25 years ago, he probably would have been in the league for a couple of years and out of the league. You know what I'm saying? Because of his size. But they were able to create a role for him in this era because basketball is just different the way, the game is played. And he did pretty good, really good in his role. Okay. Won a couple championships, but he's not a Hall of Fame player. That's why, what I'm saying, I compared him that time with Byron Houston, excuse me, Byron Houston. Really good college player from Oklahoma, I believe. But he didn't last in the NBA because of the way the game was played in the night. You know what I'm saying? They didn't create a role for a guy like that. They looked at him, said, okay, well, he's shaped like a power forward, but he's small. Okay, he's a little bit too small to be an effective power forward, but he's a little bit too slow to be a small forward. So what can we do with him? Karl Malone. Well, you know, unfortunately, Lou, Karl Malone was fortunate to be born when he was born, and from a culture in the South where shit like that was allowed. But yeah, there's no goddamn good reason. Look, it's one thing, even though it's still wrong, it's one thing if Carl was 20 or 21 and the girl was 17. That's still wrong, but at least you think to yourself, well, okay, she's underage, but okay, in about 4 years, it won't be that far apart, It's in a ballpark. You get what I'm saying? But for him to be 22 and the girl's 13, I'm sorry, that's a pedophile. That's a pedophile. Yeah, he, he's not better than Charles Barkley. You know what I'm saying? He's not. He's not better than Charles Barkley. Some things is just you don't even have to defend. We all know he's not better than Charles Barkley. Um, that's all we got to say. You know what I'm saying? This past season was all the validation we needed. I don't want to hear shit about injuries or any of that shit. This past year was all the validation we needed to show you what type of player he was when he doesn't have, you know what I'm saying, his protection around him. So, good Lord. So the girl was actually 12. Yeah, Carl won't need to be in prison, man. Man, that's some bullshit, man. And then I found out, I read that the main reason why the family didn't press charges against him is because they thought that he'd be more valuable playing because, of the fact that he would make money. I guess they got maybe some type of arrangement where, it was some settlement maybe. So they figured, I guess with child support, whatever, they figured, well, he's more valuable playing and making money than putting him in prison. But Jesus, man, what the fuck? Look, man, 12, man, that's a fucking kid. Yeah, fuck Carmelo. Fuck Carmelo. Yeah, on my page, Tom Heinsohn passed away. You know, I remember when Walter McCarthy was in the Boston. So you go, Walter. Y'all hit that like button as y'all come in too. Legendary says, Too Raw, who do you think will be a better player next year, Luca or Zion? Well, the media gonna make sure it's Luca. It's funny. Zion comes into the league, and all you heard is criticism about his fucking weight. He's too heavy. He need to lose weight. Shannon Sharp. You can just look at the kid. Skip, he walks knock knee. Skip, he walks knock knee. He got to come off that weight, Skip. He just got to discipline himself, Skip. He gonna have to lose a good 40, about good 40, 50 pounds, Skip. But when he was in college, nobody said anything a goddamn thing about his weight. They were calling him a mix between what? Sean Kemp and Shaq. But once again, the NBA, they saw one thing to criticize him about. Oh, don't criticize this nigga about his weight. Then you have Luca. He is a great player, but Luca shot selection sucks at times. You know what I'm saying? People get on James Harden, but Luca has terrible shot selection sometimes. He don't play defense, but nobody points this shit out. But they put out Carmelo Anthony didn't play defense, even though he did play defense this year, and the stats prove it. The advanced metric stats prove that Carmelo was actually one of their better defenders. But if you listen to the media, he's a lazy nigga. I think Zion will be dominant, especially as they stop restricting his minutes. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's gonna be dominant. I just don't. I'm just not sure what to gauge his numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know exactly what he would average. Because this year, what did he average? Like maybe was it like 19 and 8, something like that? Was it like 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists? I'm just guessing. Off the top of my head. Yeah, Steph Curry. Yep. I want to highlight your comment, man, because I think you spot on with that one. So I have a feeling Luca is going to be used as promotion for European players to enter the NBA. Imagine the duo of Luca and Porzingis win a chip together. It's going to be nonstop talk of high IQ talk. Yep. Yep. They are definitely using Luca to promote the NBA on an international tip. most definitely. I have a feeling though, Omar, that teams average about 17 3-pointers a game, right? So right now they're averaging 33, 34. I can't see it going to 40 or 45. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially now that, you know, we're going to have guys like Giannis be more of a, I don't want to say focal point, but, you're going to have guys like Giannis, uh, Zion be bigger, play bigger roles as far as stars. Uh, and with that, you're going to start seeing more, I think, more fours, more power forwards, maybe, I'm saying, more centers. Because centers are starting to come back too, you know what I'm saying? Remember a couple of years ago, we weren't seeing any center. So now, you got the what you call it, with the Denver Nuggets. You know what I'm saying? What's his fucking name? Shit, what's his name? I can't think of his fucking name for some reason. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember the damn center's name for the Denver Nuggets. I'm just blanking right now. But anyway, you know, but he's still not on par with what you would project a second round pick with that much hype behind him. You know what I'm saying? Um, his game hasn't caught up with the expectations yet, and you know, we'll see. We'll see this upcoming season with Lonzo. Oh, my audio hit went wrong. Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. I don't know. It was YouTube fucking with me or some shit. Yeah, but would Jason Tatum fit with them though? Honestly, would Jason Tatum fit playing with LeBron James? I don't. I don't think so. I don't think he would have fit playing with him. I think it would have been the same problems that Kyle Kuzma having. You know, like I think he would have the same problems. Any player, offensive player that needs the ball in his hands, and you play with LeBron James, and you're the third option, you're just going to struggle. I'm not saying to knock LeBron. It's just we've seen that. We've seen that with shit. The first, honestly, everybody was talking about Bosch, but even if you go back to those Cleveland teams from the 2000s, outside of Mo Williams, shit, everybody kind of nobody really looked good playing with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Then of course Bosch struggled as a third string guy. Kevin Love really struggled. Kyle Kuzma struggling. It's just mm, yeah. Brandon, but like I said, it's not a knock on LeBron. It's just LeBron's a guy that needs to have the basketball in his hands to be the most effective. You know what I'm saying? So if he has the ball in his hands all the time, unless you're a guy that make cuts or what I'm saying, a guy that's a good spot up shooter, and you're a guy that need the ball in your hands to get your rhythm, your timing right as far as, what I'm saying, making shots and shit, you're just not going to be effective playing with LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Most guys who are volume scorers, they need more than 5 shots a game. You know what I'm saying? One night you might only get 4 or 5 shots. Next night you might get 12. You know, and most of those guys aren't really catch and shoot shooters. They push them to the perimeter to shoot threes. That's not their games. So yeah, I think Jason Tatum would, if it were reversed and Jason Tatum with the Lakers and Kyle Kuzma with the Celtics, Kuzma probably. Now I don't think Kuzma's as good as Tatum to me, but I think Kuzma would be doing better with Boston, obviously, and Tatum be struggling with the Lakers. Would be like Tatum's a scrub and all this type shit. Yeah, yeah, Jokic. I couldn't think of his name, man. For some reason, I kept saying Doncic, Doncic, Doncic. That's just not his fucking name, man. Doncic. I don't know. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to bash LeBron, man. I don't want to do that. But like, look, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I've seen LeBron in some of those finals, like where you know that Cleveland's going to lose. So I have seen LeBron take the ball out of other people's hands to pad his numbers. Like I remember, it might have been 2018. It might have been that finals, and Rodney Hood was in the game. Game was a blowout, but it might have been a good little stretch to put him in the game, get boost his confidence, be in that type of situation, get his confidence, whatever. And LeBron just froze Rodney Hood out, man. He just got the ball and was just padding his fucking scoring numbers and shit. I'm like, that's fucked up, man. So yeah, he does do that sometimes. Speaking of the Boston Celtics, what do y'all see for them this year? Kuzma to Phoenix. I haven't been following that closely. Is it that Booker? Is it that Booker might want to go to like the Lakers? So you say the Celtics are third seed to you? I can see that. I can see that. And you know what else I can see? For some reason, I got a feeling that Miami might struggle initially beginning the season. You ever notice like a lot of teams that go to the finals, like they kind of like have a run during the playoffs where they kind of overachieve, get to the finals, have a good showing, accounting for themselves. I always notice like a lot of times the next season, I don't know whether or not they just lose their edge because now they just think that they're an elite team. They don't come out and play as hard, and they start getting their ass whooped for a couple games. Yeah, finals hangover. I would be surprised if Miami do that the first 20 games of the season, like 15, 20 games of the season. You know what I'm saying? They might be like 9-11, um, 8-7 or some shit like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened to Miami. But, they'll right that ship because Jimmy, one thing I'll say about Jimmy Butler, man, you know what I'm saying? He's extraordinarily competitive and he's not gonna he's not gonna accept certain shit. But I can see that happening with Miami, like struggling a little bit. Um, what's up, Rashawn Jones? Um, well, Ray, I saw Ticket upload a video saying something about it's a shame what happened to Scottie Pippen. Is it that are they like an item or something, or is that what's going on with Larsa Pippen and Tristan Thompson? Don't tell me she making a sex tape and shit. Don't tell me she's going into full thought mode. On that Thomas said, I think the Celtics need more team chemistry and better court awareness training. Yeah, the one thing I notice about Boston is they're really good. They're a really good team, but sometimes I get the feeling like they might be too concerned with individual numbers. You know, like one guy might be concerned about getting at least 15 shot attempts. You know, shit like that. Yeah, Jimmy can be Jimmy can be inconsistent. Like one thing people don't like is for somebody to talk shit and don't back it up. You know what I'm saying? Now he did have two great performances in the finals, but he needed four. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit there and say, "Oh, you're in trouble now," and the next game you play like shit. So you said Larsa and Pippen dated while she was married. Do you mean Larsa and Thompson traded while she was married to Scotty? Well, yeah, that's true. Jimmy doesn't care if he scores 20 or not as long as they win. But sometimes for them to win, they need Jimmy to score 20. Okay, I got you. Wait a minute. All right, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, this is something I noticed about Larsa, right? It's funny that okay, she married him, if I'm not mistaken. They got married in 1997, right? Which was the same time that Scottie Pippen started grumbling about his contract again. They needed more money. He deserved more money, and if he didn't get more money, he was going to be traded. He was finished playing with the Bulls. So you wonder if somebody was in his ear about that, right? About you underpaid, baby, you underpaid. You're not making that much money. It won't for you. Michael wouldn't have no rings. Why is it that they're giving Michael 30 million and they won't give you more money? Da 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 da. Baby, it wasn't for deflection. You talking about it with the game seven. They'll give you the credit for that. You're right. I was giving that black bitch credit all the damn time. I'm Scotty fucking Pippen. Fuck that. I do deserve more money. Yeah, baby, you deserve more money. I deserve more money of your money. Ching ching. Yeah, he did give up in that game. So wait a minute. So Larsa is banging Tristan Thompson. Plus, didn't she bang wasn't she messing with Future? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right, one of them. What's up, JMJ? Yeah, Tom Heinsohn and Dick Stockton. They were the two commentating when Mike scored 63 against Boston. Yeah, KB. They gotta do something about that bench. They gotta shore that bench up. And to me, man, they need to come off that contract. They need to get rid of Gordon Hayward, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why whenever I say something about him, I'm a villain for some reason. They don't talk about Gordon Hayward like he's trying. He's trying his best. Yes, he is, man. Jesus. I make a video complain. I probably made like maybe only 4 videos complaining about Gordon Hayward over the last 3 years, and every one of them I get some type of heat about. I'm being overly harsh on him or something. Never. I mean, he's the most coddled fucking guy, man. It's ridiculous. Right. That's the thing. I remember Gordon Hayward with Utah. He looked like he was an all-star on the rise. And I don't want to keep hearing about that goddamn leg. 3 years ago. I guess maybe psycho. I don't know. Scotty Scheffler. So Gordon wants to go to Indiana, huh? That makes sense. That makes sense. But Tom was there. Tom was there for every one of those championships for Boston, either as a player, as a head coach, or a broadcaster. Right, Ray. You know what I'm saying? And it's not an excuse with Paul George because that was 6 years ago. He's fully healed from that. So I'm not going to use that as an excuse for what I'm saying why all of a sudden in Game 7 he went blind like Ray Charles shooting. That's not an excuse. His leg, he choked. Well, with Gordon Hayward, for some reason, it's just Tom Heinsohn is just such a homer. You know what I'm saying? Like I get that commentators are going to like I understand that home commentators are going to root to an extent for the home team, but Jesus, man, well, all them Boston commentators are like that. Tyson, Johnny Most, Jesus Christ. If somebody fouled Larry Bird, man, he needed. If somebody fouled Larry Bird or Kevin McHale or somebody, Johnny Most thought they should be fucking electrocuted and shit. That was a blatantly despicable foul on number 24 from Lucky. He should be ejected from the game. That's a ridiculously hard foul on Bird. There's no call for that in the game. There's no reason for that type of play in the game. Let Bird do the same thing. These are men out here on the court, okay? I don't know what they're complaining about. But this is a man's game. That was a foul. Yeah, that was just a foul, a reasonable foul. That shouldn't be a flagrant. That's ridiculous. Shut up, Johnny. Have you ever heard Johnny Mosray? Yeah, he said shit. That was a despicable and disgusting display. That's the dude, Ray, when you listen to okay, like have you ever looked at that highlight when Bird stole the ball, when Isaiah Thomas um when he stole the ball from Isaiah, that's the guy that goes, oh no, was that him? Oh no, was that Johnny Most? Or no, 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 no. That wasn't Johnny Most with that one. Johnny Most was the one. I'm about to get my mixed up. I know Johnny Most was the one that made the call with Havlicek. He's the one that said, Greer puts the ball in play. He throws it out and Havlicek steals it. Havlicek stole the ball. I can't remember whether he was the one that did the call for Bird. That might have been somebody else. I want to say it was Johnny Most, but I can't be certain of that. Now's a steal by Bird. Gives on the DJ to lay it in. What a play by Bird. Diddles and diddles. What the fuck is that? Diddles and diddles. Wait a minute. Can you hear me now? I think I know what's going on sometimes when y'all not hearing me. I got like one of these phones where if I cover the mic, it mutes me. I sometimes forget I'm doing that. Y'all can probably hear me now, right? Let me know if y'all can hear me now. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that's what's going on. Like sometimes I'll be holding my phone a certain way and it'll just mute me and whatnot. I gotta remember not to do that. All right. Yeah, Johnny Most was a character, man. Probably smoked like 8 packs of cigarettes a day and shit. So he didn't sound like that when he first started. If you listen to him when he made that call with Havlicek, his voice was deep, but it didn't sound like how it did in the 80s. Patrice Huggins says Jerry West versus Oscar Robertson. Who's the better player? Oscar Robertson to me. Oscar. Um, like both of them are great players, but Oscar Robertson was bigger, and stronger, um, probably faster, better rebounder, better floor general. Um, Both of them had high basketball IQ, but you can argue that Oscar had a higher basketball IQ. Also, Oscar to me had a bigger burden on him than Jerry West did, because when Jerry West came to the Lakers, they already had an established star in Elgin Baylor, and Jerry West didn't quite come into the NBA gangbusters. He didn't struggle like Scotty, but it took him a couple of years to get to the point where he had developed his game to the point where he was at 25 to 30 points per game assassin. Now I do think Jerry West was a better defensive player, a better clutch performer, and probably a better pure scorer. You know what I'm saying? A better pure scorer as far as a scoring mentality. Although Oscar Robertson could score too. You know what I'm saying? But Oscar really didn't have many weaknesses. Man. Like he was. I think Oscar was probably an above average defender, not great, but he was a great rebounder for his position, a great scorer, the best passer in the league. Um, you know what I'm saying? He was this big guard. In many ways, honestly, it would make more sense if they were really being accurate and they really cared about it. It would make more sense to compare LeBron and Oscar. They're the ones that are more comparable. Their games is more comparable. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. Oscar Robertson, he played in today's league, would have had far more assists because they were more strict back then on what they called an assist. You know what I'm saying? Like back then when he played, the player who was making the pass had to lead directly to a basket. It couldn't be no other. It couldn't be excessive movements. It couldn't be like a dribble and then putting it up. No, that wasn't counted as assist back then. So overall, I would give a nod to Oscar Robertson. Robertson came in the league as a beast. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have, when he was with Cincinnati for the most part, a really good team. It was just him kind of carrying the load. The only, I think, really good team that he had was Jack Wyman. He didn't really, he did have Jerry Lucas, too. I can't say that. But at the same time, the Lakers were better. Philly was probably better. Well, Philly was better. Um, he just didn't have enough weapons. He didn't have enough help to contend with Boston and those other guys. Well, that's the thing, Sean. Um, Oscar probably was more skilled than LeBron. Phil Jackson said that Oscar, as far as guards are concerned, Oscar and Mike had the best mid-range game that he ever saw. Yeah, Jerry had. I feel like this. Oscar could shoot, but I think Jerry had more range. O- Oscar was more mid-range. Jerry West could shoot to what would probably then be three-point range. They had a three-point shot. Juanetta says, who passed MJ with the most points in the first half of a finals game because MJ passed up Baylor for the record in '92 finals? I thought MJ still held that record. I think MJ still holds the record for most points in a half of 35, if I'm not mistaken. I think Michael Jordan still holds that record. Um, see, I'm gonna tell you something though, man. I thought for a minute Darwin this was gonna break my record this year for most points in the game. until he started missing at the end. I thought Dog was gonna get that 63. Oh, check her. Slam dunk. Rashad, you think Jared is a better athlete than Oscar was? Uh, uh, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I know as Oscar got older, he started getting that, you know, he started getting that goddamn that shape like Alfonso Ribeiro and shit, real Fresh Prince and shit. That stocky build and shit. 40-foot vertical leap? You mean 40 inch? Well, I mean, look, if Will Chamberlain Archive said it, then most likely it has to be true. Because I don't know anybody who does better research than him. Maybe I'm wrong on that. You know, you know. You said, Mike, I always wanted to know your favorite movie list. Uh, hmm, I'm gonna tell you something about me, man. It's like it depends on my mood as far as what I want to look at. Sometimes I might want to look at something that's sort of mentally stimulating, and then sometimes I want to look at something that relaxes you, that you want to just laugh at something silly and something stupid. But as far as my favorite movies, uh, they tend to be historical movies or something to that extent. Uh, but it'll be a weird list, man. Like, okay, like, oh boy, I'm trying to think about this. I know that the one movie that I love that I watched over and over and over and over again in my life, I probably watched it about 120 or 140 times is Forrest Gump. I love Forrest Gump, just because it's not necessarily a history movie, but it deals with historical subjects and moments. I like that movie. I love mob movies. I love Gotti. You know what I'm saying? The HBO movie from the 90s. It's on YouTube. I love Gotti, Goodfellas. Um, what else? Casino. I love, like I said, I love mob movies, man. I like that movie that came out about 5 years ago called Black Mass, where Johnny Depp played Whitey Bulger. I like that movie. That comes to mind. But then I like comedies. You know what I'm saying? I like silly comedy. I like highbrow comedy and I like lowbrow comedy. It just whatever. You know what I'm saying? I like movies like the Pink Panther movies, or I like what else is out there? I might look at something like White Chicks. Uh, I like the Hot Chick, that movie of Rob Schneider where he's switched places with Rachel McAdams' character. I like a lot of stupid movies, man. I love those parody movies too, like parodies of a genre, like Not Another Teen Movie or Scary Movie. You know, I like movies like that, like the airplane movies, the Naked Gun movies. Um, I'm gonna get you, sucker. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Harlem Nights. I love Harlem Nights. I do know this about Jerry West. I do know this. His height is not accurately measured. Like for some reason, most sites have him listed as being 6'2", but Jerry West verified that he was actually 6'3" and a half, which would make him about the same height as Dwayne Wade. Okay, all right. So he had a 40 inch vertical leap. I didn't know that. I mean, I know it wasn't like like Bird or some shit, like on like a 26 inch vertical leap. I just didn't think he had a 40 inch vertical leap. Oh, shout to Intelligence Cycle for the super chat. He says, "Salute to Raw. Saw ticket stream the other night. Braun fans made argument that he could average 40 in it. Oh my God! In the 80s, 90s, he can adjust with better 3-point percentage. Look, man, you can't fix stupid. Okay, you just can't fix stupid. Don't they understand? What part of this thing did I understand? Shut up, baby ears. I gotta watch Uncut Gems, man. I haven't seen that yet, man. Everybody that I know keep telling me, man, check out Uncut Gems. Is really good. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that. Yeah, I like the Untouchables too. The thing about LeBron is this, though. Look, if you look at his career, it's become increasingly so as we entered this league now where there's really no presence down low, right, in the paint. A majority of LeBron's points come from the paint and the foul line. Okay, the majority, 2/3. He's not a guy living from the perimeter. He's not. He's not an exceptionally good 3-point shooter. The league average is 36%. He's about 34%. It's not terrible, but he's not great. Now you're talking about putting him in the league where you got these big ass plotting centers down low, right? The speed of the game is slower, okay? The pace of the game is slower. So now you got these. It's more of a half court game. If you especially if you're talking about the '90s, if you're talking about the late '90s, hell no, he's not averaging 40. What are they talking about? You got these centers, in the game. They're about 7 feet one, 275, 280. Okay, and you can hand check. How are you scoring 40? How? When LeBron James was in his prime 10 years ago, he was on his highest average was 30. How is he somehow magically going to score 40 in a more defensive era? When he came in the league, he was only averaging 20, 25. Come on, man. Just be realistic. He doesn't have that type of arsenal in his offense to be able to adjust to that. I think LeBron will still be great in the 90s, but he probably would average more like 24, 25. maybe shoot like 46% from the floor, 47%. He'd still be great, but his numbers would be different. So when was the last time you stopped watching baseball and football? I'm not even watching it right now. Um, I'm attempting to try to get back into baseball, but it's like all sports are having the same issues, and that both all three leagues are trying to overemphasize the offensive end of the game and nullifying or not nullifying, but sort of minimizing the importance of defense. You see it in baseball. Like right now, I think that the overall league batting average is the lowest it's ever been, or like the lowest has been like since the '70s. Like 240. I think the league average is like 248 batting average or something. Back in 2000, the league average was over 270. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to do is just hit home runs. Just like in basketball, only thing everybody want to do is shoot threes. Just like in the NFL, everybody want to see these 48, 40s, 50 to 47 blowouts. I mean, not blowouts, excuse me, shootouts. Like everybody don't want to see that all the time. Somebody, every now and then I want to see a good defensive game. I want to see a 13-10 defensive game. I want to see in baseball, I want to see a no-hitter. I want to see a shutout. Sometimes I want to see a low-scoring defensive game. But it's money is fucking up sports, man. To me, money is fucking sports up bad, man. And yeah, like you say, Ray, with the way they rigging shit, man, it sucks, man. LeBron's best season is 2011, 2012, even though his best basketball is 2008, 2009. Hey, Sean, is that the season? Is that the season he shot 56% from the floor? I can't remember whether that was that year or 2012, 2013. One of those years he shot 56% from the floor. And I remember looking at his stats that year, and I think he played in like 76 games. And in like 69 of the 76 games, LeBron shot over 50% or better in 69 of those games. Fucking incredible. Okay, it was 12, 13. Okay. I saw your question, Legendary. You said where do you rank Ray Allen on the best three pointers list? I mean, oh boy. Technically, I guess you still have to put him number one because he's still number one until Curry passes him. But right now, I would have him number two. You know, um, right now I will have him number two behind Curry. But since he still is the all-time leader, you kind of still got to give it to him. But honestly, when everything is said and done, I believe that not only will Curry have more threes than him, Klay Thompson's going to have more threes than him and have a higher percentage. Um, James Harden is going to have more threes, but his percentage is going to be shit compared to Ray Allen. It's going to be more like 35%. So a lot of guys are going to pass Ray Allen when everything's said and done, just because of the way the game is played with the way they shoot threes now. When Ray was playing, a lot of threes was like 5 or 6 a game in his best years. Now you got guys that attempt 10 or 11. So these guys are going to catch up to these other guys faster because they're taking so many more threes. Just like 20 years ago, for a guy to take three pointers a game or four was kind of a lot. And 30 years ago, for a guy to take two or three was a lot. So, it is what it is. Well, yeah, that's true, Percy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm trying to say. You still have, it's just too many of these high scoring games. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's true, special teams can score a lot of points, but you just want to see good defense. At least me. I like seeing defense. Every now and then, yeah, I want to see a offense go off and score 50 points. Who didn't like to see the greatest show on turf 20 years ago with the Rams or whoever, you know, who didn't want to see the 49ers back in the 90s or the Cowboys blow somebody out 53 to 10 or something like that every now and then. But I also want to see some good defense, you know, and you're not seeing it as much anymore. I fucking loved it, Ray. I hate, it's, I'm sorry. I am a Tom Brady here. I am. I am. I'm sorry. I'm not going to make no excuses about that. I hate Tom Brady to the infinite power, man. Um, I don't like how everything was set up for him to win another ring magically. He magically got this help from a player that had retired, and I'm saying another player that needs to be in a mental ward. They're trying to give him all this help, and I love that the Saints blew him out. Plus, the thing that really pissed me off is this year has kind of exposed that a lot of these Patriot fans were really just Tom Brady fans because it irritates me and sickens me how you got all these so-called Patriot fans who done ran their ass to the Buccaneers and they talking shit about Belichick and the Patriots and talking shit about Cam Newton, hoping he failed. But you was a Patriots fan. You ain't shit, you fucking piece of shit. You fucking fanboy. Yeah, Ray, you don't see him now. Don't get me wrong, there's some real Patriots fans out there, but most of them were just Tom Brady fans, and this year exposed it. Yeah, Percy, that defense was scoring points for them. And like you said, they were stopping teams. I like defense, man. I don't know. Scoring is great, man, but defense to me is just more fun to watch. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the minority with that one, but I love watching defense. And the way now defense isn't even emphasized anymore, especially with the NBA, it sickens me. It sickens me. Because now, if you're a guy that plays great defense, you don't really have any value in the NBA anymore. I mean, yeah, Patrick Beverly gets a little bit mentioned, but Dennis Rodman was a superstar, man. Dennis Rodman was a superstar because of his defense and rebounding. A little bit was his personality too, but if you want to get paid, you got to be able to score now. You got to be able to shoot. Yep, yep, Percy. The Patriots living off the AFC East for 20 years. Omar, I'm trying to get away from that. I mean, before I go there, let's see. Patrice Huggins said, should Kareem have won the 1980 Finals MVP? Um, wow. Well, at that time, given the stakes, what Magic Johnson did was phenomenal. Being a rookie and with the best player in the game at that time being out, it looked like Philly was going to be able to win that game and take it to a game 7. You know, so for Kareem, or excuse me, for Magic to go out there and do what he did and dominate that game from start to finish, um, I can understand why they gave it to him, the Magic, because without that performance, who knows what would have happened in Game 7? So I don't think Kareem cared, whether whether it went to Magic or him. No, you're good. You're good, Omar. I asked a question. You asked me, what's the one thing you hate the most about bronsexuals? Their hypocrisy, how hypocritical they are. You know, on the one end, they'll say, well, look, LeBron makes everybody around him better. Jordan didn't do that. Kobe didn't do that. But then on the other hand, they'll say LeBron needs more help. That's just one example. That's just one example of their hypocrisy. I hate how they don't acknowledge that LeBron has had a lot of help throughout his career, just like everybody. They make it seem like, and I'm not talking about his most of his fans. I'm talking about these extremists. Like they make it seem like the way they talk, they make Chris Bosh out to be nothing but a role player. They make Wade out to be a role player. They make Kevin Love to be a role player. They make Kyrie Irving out to be, well, he's a great player, but he didn't play very well. He's not as great as LeBron. Even now, they make Anthony Davis like he's overrated. It's a pattern with them. They always downplay, his team, but yet they were or his best teammates, but yet at the same time, they were the main ones saying, well, when they got Anthony Davis, well, that's a championship right there. Oh, we're gonna win the championship. And they spent the whole this past season, downplaying Anthony Davis. You know what I'm saying? They're just fucking ungrateful, man. Brian Republicans. Speaking of that, before I go out, man, have y'all seen how they try to? Have y'all seen how they trying to take that shit from Biden, man? I mean, I don't know how far they're gonna go with it, but I think Bill Barr has okayed an investigation by I guess, the Department of Justice into looking into allegations of fraud. And most of the high-ranking Republicans, they're not acknowledging Biden's win. They're saying nothing's been certified, so the election to them still isn't. To them, the election is still in doubt. And I think it was the Secretary of was the Secretary of State, I believe, or was the Secretary of I think it was the Secretary of State when he was asked about that situation, as far as like the Trump administration working with the Biden income administration. He said, yeah, he's working to ensure that the second Trump administration goes smoothly, like the transition to a second administration. So it's like, man, don't they trying to take that shit from Biden, man. If they do this shit, man, it'll be fucked up, man. Jay Baby Ear said, "Do you feel like the NBA was milking the tragic death of Kobe?" Yep, yeah, I do. I didn't like how some of them were trying to inject Kobe's death into like the narrative and storylines about the MVP race. Like especially Rachel Nichols when she did that, when she was talking about how the burden of Kobe's death on LeBron should add to his credence to getting the MVP award. Like, don't do that. That has nothing. That shouldn't even be injected into that shit. Because to me, to be honest with you, all these narratives and storylines is like WWE bullshit anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like most people think the NBA is kind of half rigged anyway. Don't inject any real life tragedy into that bullshit. Oh, I see. Legendary says, true world, there are NBA rumors that Chris Paul is going to the Knicks, and if he goes, Carmelo Anthony will join him since they're close. What do you think? Um, one of them, one of them is about 3 years removed from his prime. The other one about 5 or 6 years removed. So I really don't think much of nothing. I mean, at this point, both of those guys are not what you would call franchise players anymore. They're more like highly valued, like complementary pieces, especially Chris Paul. But I think he has a little bit more in the tank. So I don't really see that as, are you going to a bad team playing for that guy, Dolan? I don't know. I really don't see how that's going to. I mean, look, Chris Paul has great leadership abilities, but the Knicks suck. So what does that give them? Like their value will give the Knicks what, an additional 10 wins, maybe. So I don't really see much. Yeah, it was a bad taste, man. The whole thing. Yeah, I saw that, Percy. I saw that. With Paula White. I started thinking about that song, that Enya song, when she was talking about angels from Africa and shit. Like these people are just con artists and delusional, man. It's not even about politics. The sad thing, man, is that everybody knows what's going on with those people, but they won't call it out for what it is, and that is, they're a cult, they're dangerous, and it's fascism. The fact that they are trying to literally overturn an election. And I'm not a Democrat. Y'all guys know this. Y'all been following me. I don't root for either one of those guys. But the fact remains, Joe Biden won that election. When everything is said and done, when all the votes are counted, Joe Biden's going to have over 80 million fucking votes. Okay, he won this election fair and square. They're trying to overturn an election, and I'm going to tell you something about the Republicans that bothers me. Ever since Bill Clinton, and Percy can back me up on this, because he's a little older than I am, and he follows these things. Ever since Bill Clinton, the Republicans have always had this thing where they try to delegitimize a Democratic president. When Bill Clinton was elected, the main thing they kept saying, he only won 43% of the vote. Ross Perot was the one to help him get elected, which wasn't true. He's not legitimate. If it was a two-man race, Bill Clinton, Bush would have beaten him, which wasn't true at all. Then we got reelected. Well, he didn't get 50% of the vote, so it doesn't really count. Right? So they always delegitimized Bill Clinton. When Barack Obama was president, he did win handily both times, but we know what the issue was with that. We know we don't have to. I don't have to go into detail about that. They didn't take him seriously. They tried everything they could to make his administration a failure. Now they're going a step further, and they're not even trying to they're not even trying to acknowledge he got elected. They want to decertify the result before they even certify. So yeah, the Republicans are on some bullshit with this shit. Seriously. But 4 years ago, like someone in my chat just said, they told Democrats to get over it. What's up, Do Not 1999? Yeah, I already answered that question. In my opinion, I would say Larry Bird. Yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm an independent. I mean, I've said this before. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed. At one point in my life, I know this sounds weird, but I used to consider myself a Republican. But this was a long, long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was like a teenager, early 20s. But then when I started catching wind of like the racial aspect, the racial games they play, like during the 2000 campaign, I noticed like the Bush administration was doing that shit to McCain. That's when I started becoming more aware of racism. Yeah, I stopped identifying with them. So ever since then, I consider myself an independent, but I would, up until recently, lean to the Democrats using that lesser two evil shit that most of us do. But up until like 4 years ago, I was still doing that, but then I stopped doing it because, as we get older, we just start observing more and more things. And the Democratic Party has been just as destructive, actually more destructive to us as a group than the Republican Party. The Democratic Party has been very destructive to us, and in particular the family structure over the last 50 to 60 years. You know what I'm saying? The little Civil Rights Act and all that shit, the little trinkets that we did get, it came with a price. And it came with, the black family structure being ruined, in my opinion. Right. They said Bush. I remember when Bush got reelected in 2004, and some people would tell you that there was evidence of voter fraud in Ohio. And just because Bush got 50% of the vote plus, he had a mandate. But when Barack Obama won by 10 million votes 4 years later, you know, they try to act like that wasn't anything. And Barack Obama won some states that the Democrats may not get back anytime soon, like Florida. He won Indiana the first time. He won North Carolina the first time. So he came close to winning Missouri the first time he won. He won Iowa both times. The Democrats might not get those states back for a while. So, that's the game they play, man. Yeah, yeah. But you know what that was, man? The thing that bothered me about the Democrats is because when I was reading about history when I was younger, I read about slavery and I read about how basically the Democratic Party, you know, those who uh basically the Democratic Party, I can't say they founded slavery because there was no Democratic Party when slavery was introduced, but they were the champions of slavery. You know what I'm saying? Um, Andrew Jackson, when he basically founded the Democratic Party in 1830s, he was a slave owner. Um, those in the Democratic Party or those who, I feel like this, those who were slave owners and plantation owners, they were all Democrats. You know what I'm saying? The Republican Party was initially created, you know what I'm saying, as opposition to the Democrats. And one of the main objectives initially was they were anti-slavery. So when you read that shit, you know what I'm saying, if you read it and you're a kid and you're oblivious to how things are now, you lean toward that, right? I grew up reading about Abraham Lincoln. I wasn't quite aware at age 8, 9, 10 that there had been some realignments until I got older. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I would talk to people, like my classmates, and they like, why you don't like Clinton? I'm like, well, I mean, the Democratic Party are racist. What are you talking about? The Republicans are racist. I'm like, well, now that you really look at history, oh man, you're a sellout. How did I sell out, you fucker? Fuck you talking about? I mean, Lincoln by today's standards is a racist too. You know what I'm saying? Lincoln by today's standards is a racist, but maybe for the times he lived in, he wasn't that racist. But he still was a racist motherfucker. But over time, though, the Republican Party just kind of drifted away from the radical activism that they had the first couple of decades. They just became more and more of a party of big business, and you know, ultimately the Republican Party stayed a party of big business and corporations and all that type of shit and the wealthy. But, you know, we just saw some realignments. The motherfuckers that was once racist pieces of shit, they didn't have a home in the Democratic Party anymore. They vaulted over to the Republicans when they started courting their ass like the matador to the bull and shit. That is true. The Whig Party was a slave party, more vehemently than the Democrats. But what happened was when the Whig Party disbanded, one of the reasons why they disbanded is because some people who were Whigs weren't racist, and the slavery issue kind of did break up the Whig Party. And then some people who were Whigs that were openly racist, they went to the Democratic Party, and then the other ones they helped to found the Republican Party. That's true, Percy. That's true. He didn't if he had any other option, he wouldn't have ended slavery. That was just like he was forced into doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's not the first option for Lincoln. You know what I'm saying? Lincoln did not want to end slavery. That wasn't his intention. He was trying to save the Union. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that Lincoln gets romanticized too much by people. You know what I'm saying? Like he was this great savior and that basically he ended slavery because he thought it was so wrong. But in reality, Lincoln was kind of forced. Lincoln was forced into doing that. D.L. Hughley on Kings of Comedy, the worst one. Hmm. I think DL's funny, but all right, to me now, the worst one to me is Steve Harvey. That's just me. Right, right. To me, Steve Harvey, man, whenever I listen to Steve Harvey when he's doing his stand up, man, and I mean this in all genuine, being genuine. In all the years I've listened to his stand up, he's only told one joke that made me laugh out loud. One, one. I chuckle listening to him. He says things that make you chuckle. The only thing he ever said that I thought was funny as shit is when he made that joke about the weapons of mass destruction in one of those shows. He said some shit like, we spent all this time in Iraq, all this time Bush talking about some weapons of mass destruction. Man, they ain't found a firecracker. When he said the way he said that shit, I was rolling when he said that. She said, man, they ain't found a firecracker. Other than that, man, I just can't think of like a lot of jokes that he said that make me go, oh, oh, oh my God. Oh, my size. Oh God, my size is killing me. Oh, I just can't think of it. Now, Bernie Mac, on the other hand, Bernie Mac, on the other hand, that motherfucker's hilarious. I mean, his routine in the Kings of Comedy led to him getting that show, which led to, the rivalry that him and Steve Harvey had with his jealous ass. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being happy for fucking Bernie Mac, he trying to backstab him. He tried to steal that movie role that Bernie Mac had in Ocean's 11. I think it was Ocean's 11. He tried to take that movie role from him. You know what I'm saying? And try to get himself the plug. What type of bullshit is that? Man, Bernie Mac funny as a motherfucker, man. I said, what the fuck you doing in the kitchen? I guess I'm not can kids. So I tells this little bitch, excuse me for language, but I tell this little motherfucker, you gotta take your ass to bed. Ain't this a motherfucker? It's amazing how black people can have a long drawn out conversation with the word motherfucker. I told that motherfucker Reggie, he better have my motherfucking money. I told his motherfucking mama. I called that bitch. I told her DL is, to me, DL was kind of funny back in the day. Um, he's hit or miss to me, man. He can be funny. Cedric to me, he's pretty funny, Cedric. But there's some other motherfuckers from back in the day, man, that I used to think was hilarious. But I don't know if they just the agent sucked or, whatever reason. They just their careers never um got to the point where you thought they can get to. Like, what was that motherfucker that used to be on Comedy Central back in the day? On SJ. On SJ is funny as shit, man. On SJ is hilarious. On SJ is funny. Um, what's that dude, man? Not what's that real fat motherfucker, man? But he's lost a lot of weight recently. Not Bruce, the other one. Um, with the southern accent. He's funny as shit. Oh, Patrice O'Neal, that's a whole different level, man. Patrice O'Neal was a comedic genius. He was hilarious, man. I'm trying to think of the dude. What's his name, man? Um, Lavelle Crawford. Yeah, Lavelle Crawford's funny as shit, man. But Patrice O'Neal, yeah, he that's a whole different level, man. Like the shit he was talking about in his comedy stand-ups was like Chappelle level shit. Like they kind of like in the same league with one another. But Patrice O'Neal, unfortunately, I think he died too soon, man. And I can't believe it's been 9 years since he died too. Earthquake is funny too. Right? They make you think. I like comics, so I like silly comedy, but I like comedians that make you think, man. Um, those two, Patrice O'Neal, Dave Chappelle, um, Richard Pryor make you think too. Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Bill Hicks, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess what you call the intellectual comedians. Yeah, they were deeper, you know what I'm saying? They made you laugh, but they also made you think about shit. Yeah, Patrice O'Neal's funny, man. Funny, man. Funny, man. I just, wish he had took his health more seriously, man. I think the last thing that he did was that comedy roast with Charlie Sheen, I think it was. Larry David is funny. Yeah, I don't either. Jay Baby is. I don't. Yeah, he's not all that funny to me either. You know what, Ray? I'm gonna get ready to leave after this. I got some shit I got to take care of. Um, I remember when Conan O'Brien first took over. Right? He first took over that show when they left NBC to go take the main show over on CBS. Right? And I remember Conan. I've been watching Conan ever since he first started, and they almost canceled. They almost canceled that show. I remember watching it, man. And a lot of times when anybody watching your shit, you can get away with a lot of shit. I was like, this is some crazy fuck. This is a crazy fucking show. Like, y'all remember? I don't know if y'all been watching Conan O'Brien this long. Because I watched it since it started in '93. Y'all remember that character he had? It was called the Masturbating Bear. And whenever he would jump out, it was a motherfucker in a costume, and he had a diaper on. And whenever he would come out, he'd be jerking off to the beat that songs you hear in the circus. I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit I'm looking at, man? But it's just stupid comedy, man. It's just dumb shit. Stephen Colbert is funnier than Conan. Uh, I mean, just depends on your taste. You know what I'm saying? I can appreciate both types. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate political humor. I like all types of comedy. The only person, you know what? No, one person who was so hyped as a comedian, but I never found him that funny is Jerry Seinfeld. I, I just never found Jerry that fucking funny. Didn't get it. I don't know. It ain't got nothing to do with him being white. Nothing of that. Because I find Bill Burr hilarious. I've mentioned numerous white comedians I find funny. I just don't find him funny. In fact, he wasn't even the funniest character on his own show. That was Kramer with his racist fucking ass. Bob Newhart. Yeah, yeah, Bob Newhart was funny. Bob Newhart, uh, Don Knotts. Land, dude. Double loose gotta go out with me. Now, Bob. Yeah, Don Rickles was funny, man. But he couldn't get away with the shit that he was talking about today, though. In today's world, with the race humor he was doing, people too sensitive. You know what I'm saying? The people are way too sensitive, man. He would have everybody want to cancel him in 2020. But you know what, in Intelligent Cycle, it wasn't even about for a white audience thing. It just was bland to me. Robin Williams was white, but he was hilarious. To him, to me, it's just Seinfeld. I don't know. He had that elevator music type humor to me. I like All in the Family. Man, I fucking love that show, man. You know what's so funny about that shit? I remember as a kid, I used to always hear all this shit about All in the Family, how terrible the show was. And I said I was gonna get off this motherfucker. I get off this motherfucker. So I used to hear all this shit about how terrible that show was. It's racist. You don't want to watch it, man. It's racist. The guy, he's a racist piece of shit. They need to take that shit off the air. But they had took it off the air. So then I remember TV Land started airing it like I think like the fall of '98 or some shit. Or '99, one of those two. And I'm watching this shit. I'm like, this shit funny as a motherfucker. And the thing about it, if you really watch that show, they're making Archie look like an asshole. They make Archie look like an asshole. They make Archie look bad. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Archie was funny as shit, man. Couldn't pronounce shit for the world. He didn't know how to pronounce words and shit. Your mother, she went, what do you call it there? One of those grown colleges there. I guess she's having what you call one of those female issues there. Don't want to touch that there. Yeah, yeah. He was Carl O'Connor was if I'm not mistaken, he was an English teacher. So he purposely used malapropisms or words that sounded like other words to, fill in for words that Archie didn't really know because he was limited. So he was misusing words and shit. Like if he was to say she's going to divorce him and get alimony, he might say, Edith, she's going to divorce him and get him from allegory or some shit like that. He just fuck up. His vocabulary was fucked up. Meathead. Let me tell you a little something about Richard E. Nixon. He's the best thing for this country going there. Stupid ass dude, man. Yeah, Don Rickles was an insult comic. He would if you want to do any research on Nichols on YouTube, the best thing to look up is one of those. Either look up some talk show appearances with, either some talk show appearances with Johnny Carson, especially in the '70s, or look up the Dean Martin comedy roast. That's probably where you might see his older material before PC kind of made him stop using so much racial humor. But he used to do like a lot. But the thing about it, he would do it with everybody: black people, Hispanics, Jews, and he was a Jew. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it's like I just grew up in a different generation. Man. I'm 40, but my parents was born in the 40s. My grandmother was born in 1904. Did that make any sense to y'all? It's like I'm 40, but in a way I'm like 67. You know what I'm saying? Like I just I'm I'm older than my years because of the influence my parents and my grandparents had. They from a way different generation. Like when I was born, my grandmother was almost 80. You know, my parents were older. So it's like, fuck this generation. I'm not part of it. Yeah, it's 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 a yeah, it's an interesting family tree. Yeah, that shit tripped me off Percy. He's always calling Richard E. Nixon. I just hate how the shit that we grew up watching, man. We couldn't. It couldn't happen today. Like in Living Color, that's not going to happen today. Like actually having a character that appears to be making fun of handicapped people, like Handyman, or having a joke that's making fun of homeless people or making fun of gay people. But see, back then, people kind of could laugh at themselves better now. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, everybody wants to play a victim. Everybody has these egos. Everybody's narcissistic. And everybody's offended by shit. Don't get me wrong. It's real racist shit out here. It's real sexism out here. It's real, shit out here. But everybody wants to be offended by every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? That shit's sickening, man. It's stupid. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go, man. It was nice talking to y'all, man. And you know what I'm saying? Till next time, man. Peace out.